Hi, welcome to You Need Jen. I'm Jen, and today we're going to be talking about first-time home buying. Now, whether you're a first-time home buyer or it's been a long time since you've bought a house, we're going to talk about the proper sequence. Now, it's super exciting to jump in and start looking at houses. But wait, before you do that, you need to get qualified. Why? Because you could jump out there and start looking at houses, and you may end up wasting your time, the seller's time, the agent's time, and potentially you could be very disappointed because you find a house you love and then it turns out you can't qualify for that. And then you'll really be sad that you have to lower your standards and get a different house. So today we're going to be talking to a mortgage expert, Penny Brown with BB&T. So, Penny, this isn't your first time that You Need Jen World Headquarters, is it?
No.
You've been here before.
I have. I got the grand tour a couple weeks ago.
Cool. Very
Enjoyed
nice.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Got to see all of your handyman work, handywoman work.
Handywoman.
Yes.
Handywoman. Okay, so before we start talking about homeowners, first-time home buyers, how long have you been in banking?
I've been in banking for 23 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I started when I was 2.
Yeah.
So, no, I've been in banking for 23 years and I've truly enjoyed it. I love it because I really am making a connection with my client, and what better way to serve someone or help them find what is most important to them, and that's a home.
Right. And this is why we're talking to you, because you have such a passion for first-time home buyers.
I do.
And helping them through the process.
I do.
So
It can
we
be
really
an emotional
appreciate
experience. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but it is a roller coaster ride. It is really important for them to understand where their finances are before they go shopping. Just here recently, I just had a client went shopping, put themselves into a binder, into a contract. Already gave them $1,000 earnest money, and they ended up losing those funds because they were not ready at all. They were not ready.
Well, that's the second piece, which is you've got to have the right agent. The right agent should have never put them in that situation.
Yes, I agree.
They find out beforehand.
I agree.
Because you can't jeopardize that money. And to a first-time home buyer,
$1,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, it sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to jump right on into the question here.
Okay.
As we know, and as we've been talking about, that everybody goes about buying a house in the wrong sequence. They jump out there and they start looking at houses that they may or not be able to afford. So will you please explain to us, tell us the proper sequence. How did they get pre-qualified? Because that is the first and most important.
Pre-qualification is not a hard thing. It really is just sharing information with your mortgage lender. And so basically what that is giving your social security number. It's like a mini application based on the information that they're sharing with you and their credit bureau. That is the information that we pre-qualify them for. Meaning, if they tell me they make $50,000 a year, then that's what I'm going by.
So
it's
you
really,
can't fib to your lender?
No, it's not a good practice to, because we're going to document that. We have to document once you find the house and we're starting to get all the papers, the financial pieces. That's when the pieces of the puzzle start coming together.
So why is it that people are so hesitant to go get pre-qualified? Are they afraid of the answer?
Could be. But they have to have it in order to buy a house. I mean, you need to know where you stand. Now, if this is your second or third home and you've been through this process, maybe not so much. If you know exactly where you are in your credit and exactly where you are and how much money you have to put down, maybe you don't need to do that. You don't have to go through the pre-qualification process. But for anybody who is buying a home for the first time, or it's been a long time since they bought a home, it is very important for you to take that 15 minutes, because that's really all it takes.
Wow.
Is about 15 minutes to get pre-qualified.
What do you see most often are the the roadblocks to qualifying? Is it credit? Is it income? What's the
Credit.
It's credit.
Yeah, we typically we like to pre-qualify at 620. Your credit score being at 620. People don't understand that if they've had collections, or if they've had a bankruptcy, or if they've been late on their credit cards in the past 6 months or so, that really affects them, and that can drop their credit tremendously. So I tell my clients that if you're not ready, if you don't want me to see your credit bureau, and some people are, they're just funny. They feel like you're intruding on their privacy. So if you're in a position where you don't want that, then go to Credit Karma or go to one of the credit bureau agencies and pull it. And you see where you've been late, or you see if you've got collections. And then take action on that. If you've got collections, unless they're medical, those collections need to be paid off before you can buy a house. If you have been late on payments to a credit card or a car payment or something like that, you need to have a good 12-month period of not being late.
Okay, excellent. If somebody knows that they're a little iffy, can they come to you and say, okay, my goal is to buy a house. What do I need to do? Can you help them? Direct them?
Yes. So if you've got a lot of revolving debt, you want your debt to income to be as low as possible. And so what that means is, if you make $1,000 a month, then you don't want no more than $400 of that $1,000 being made towards either a mortgage payment or your debt. So you want to be at a 40
ratio.
Yes.
Meaning debt to income.
Yes.
Is, what is the max?
43%.
43%. Mm-hmm. So the final step before you get out there and you start looking for houses is to get a good agent. And I know you get asked that all the time. Mm-hmm. Who do I go to? And mostly what they do is they drive by a sign and say, I want to see this house. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. Well, you may or may not get a good agent. So do you have any recommendations? I don't want to say, well, you need Jen, but you do need Jen.
This is true.
But Jen could be just one of very good agents out there.
Yes. And I typically will give them, I work with some good agents. So I will give them 2 or 3 recommendations that they can choose from. To me, it's a connection. So that person that you're working with, you've got to be able to make that emotional connection with them, because buying a house is an emotional experience. It's a roller coaster ride, or can be a roller coaster ride. And it's really important that you're working with an agent that has experience and can, especially for first-time home buyers, can take them in the right direction and explain things to them. There are so many times where I've had clients come to me to explain the contract.
Wow,
and
that's
that
a
really,
bad agent.
It really is not. I'm not licensed to do that. I do my best at it, but I have to direct them back to the agent, when really the agent should have done that in the beginning.
You shared with me an experience that you had a first-time home buyer that was not pre-qualified. They came to you in the, again, exactly what we're talking about, the reverse order. Mm-hmm. They found the house. Their agent had them go under contract. Then they came to you, and they didn't qualify.
They actually had waited until they waited too long to come to me. They weren't ready financially to begin with, but they also waited too long to come to me, because there's that due diligence period where they got to find financing and stuff. They ended up losing
their earnest money
on the contract because they didn't meet that time frame.
Yeah, that's really sad, and that's why we're doing podcasts like this.
Yes.
Don't get the wrong agent, don't get the wrong lender, and you'll be fine. It's not scary, and it can be really, really fun with the right team.
That's correct.
But it's all about the right team.
It is. And make sure that they're working with you. Make sure that your agent is working for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Same thing with the lender.
Absolutely.
Got their best news.
So Penny, thank you so much for being on You Need Jen.
Thank you for having me. Honestly,
Please come
This has
back.
been a good experience. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jen, I love your coffee cup.
I noticed yours also. So I thought, though, that maybe we should be holding each other's in an obligatory fashion to promote each other.
Right. YouNeedGen.com.
You need BB&T.